Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's live video. I'm Howard Jacobson, Chief of Behavioral Science at WellStart Health, co-author of Sick to Fit, and, don't tell me, host of the Plant Yourself podcast. Boy, if I ever get a fourth gig, it's going to be too much. Better keep focused. So today I want to talk about bandspreading and why it's not something that you should do right away. So in order to explain bandspreading, I need to back up and say what I'm really talking about here is the difference between rules and intuition. So there's a whole movement out there called intuitive eating, which basically says that we should learn how to trust our bodies and that we don't need isms. We don't need veganism or whole food plant-based ism or vegetarianism or ketoism or anything. That all we need to do is, just like every other animal on the planet, eat intuitively. Think about like, how would this taste? Is this what I need? Maybe what I need right now is a chocolate chip cookie. Maybe what I need right now is a carrot. And that we're all different, and that by kind of going inward, we can figure out what is the right thing for us to eat. And then there's another camp that says, no, basically just follow a bunch of rules. And if you follow those rules, then you will be eating in the right arena. And, if it's whole food plant-based, basically eat lots of whole foods that are plant-based and avoid animal foods, junk food, extra oil, sugar, salt, things like that. Hi, Lynn. How's it going? It's going to be a short talk because the hurricane is starting to bear down on us, and I want to make sure that I get this done and uploaded before we lose power, which, knowing Duke Energy, could be any minute now. So, the idea, there's a fight, there's a dichotomy, and both of those ideas have merit to them, right? You can't say, well, one's obviously right and one's obviously wrong. We know that we should be eating according to a basic human protocol, the way humans are basically designed to eat, and most of us don't know what that is, and so we need to be told. And once we're told, we kind of, sort of stay in that playground. And on the other hand, it makes sense that that we are not different from other animals, and other animals don't need to read books, and they don't need to take courses, and they don't need to watch live videos to know what to eat. They can just do it instinctively, and presumably we still have that ability as well. So how do we square the circle? How do we resolve this seeming paradox? And I think the answer can be found in radio tuners, and maybe also in certain stringed instruments, orchestral stringed instruments like violins. And I have a many years of experience with the violin. But bandspreading, which is the word that I introduced, comes from radio. And basically a band spread control is what we might think of as a fine tuner. So if you remember when we used to have like stereo consoles that had radio tuners in them, you would have the big tuner, the big knob, and then maybe above it, like a little circular ring around it, would be another knob that you would have to turn a lot more to get the dial or the needle to move up and down the FM spectrum. And the tuner, the big one, is the tuner, and then the little ring that does the fine tuning is known as the band spread control. And what its job is once you're basically there, like once you've used the tuner and you've gotten to your station, more or less, it might be a little crackly here or there, then you can use the fine tuner to get the exact right spot. Now, this is before digital radio tuners, and it's before locking onto particular frequencies. So in the old days, in the analog world, you were always looking for that perfect sound where you get it in stereo, there's no interference, there's no echo, there's no delay, and that's what the band spread control was really good for. So here's the metaphor. When we are trying to eat right, if we were an animal, if we were a tiger or a koala or a silverback gorilla, and we were not conditioned by our culture, and we were not served junk food from the time we were very, very young, and by junk food I mean things not made by nature, but things that could only be made in an industrialized, capitalized society. Right, so it's not the sort of thing you can't go and bake a Kit Kat in your kitchen. You can't make a Snickers bar, But once we moved away from the natural foods in their naturally attainable quantities, our internal navigation was so overwhelmed and compromised that it's no longer trustworthy. So if you think about like intuitive behavior. Find someone who's addicted to cigarettes and have them not smoke for an hour, and then put a cigarette in front of them and ask them if their body wants the cigarette. They will say yes, right? And their body will crave the nicotine. Dry out an alcoholic for a day and a half and put a bottle of booze in front of them and see if their body doesn't intuitively want the alcohol. And if it doesn't, by golly, start feeling a lot better once it has that alcohol in its system. See the smokers getting off the airplanes or the trains or the buses or leaving the theaters, and see how their bodies rejoice and relax and refresh when they get their first hit of nicotine again. So we can't use our band spread tuner. We can't, the band spread tuner is our intuition. The fine tuner is how our intuition wants us to eat, our internal sense. So if you are at the wrong end of the frequency dial, if you're in the 87s on the FM dial and you're trying to get to the 103s, you can't use the fine tuner if you're all the way at the wrong end of the spectrum. Or even worse, let's say you're on the AM spectrum and you're trying to find your favorite FM oldie station. You're never going to find it using the fine tuner or any tuner. You need to completely switch. So that's why we need to start with rules. So if you just say, okay, I'm going to intuitively choose my food. One day you're going to intuitively choose broccoli and rice. Another day you're going to intuitively choose Snickers bars and Nestle iced tea, because that's what you think your body wants, because there are systems in your body that might be craving it. And so we're jumping all over the frequency bandwidth here, and we are not getting enough feedback to know actually what's good for us in the long run. So that's why we want to set some rules at first. So if our rules are whole food plant-based, limit the sugar, salt, and oil, then we can just start there and know that we're in basically the right ballpark. And from there, we can go to our band spread tuner. From there, once we're in that ballpark, once we have rules, once we have boundaries, I'm not going to eat that steak. I'm not going to eat the cheese pizza. I'm not going to eat the chocolate cake. Right? Instead, I'm going to have, I don't know, what am I going to have? Well, let's start with copying some people. Let's start with some recipes. Let's start with some real simple stuff. Just bake some potatoes and have them with salsa, whatever. And then at that point, once we are living comfortably within our rules, then we band spread. Then we can take our fine tuner and say, well, what's better for me, to be gluten-free or to have some whole grain that have gluten, wheat, barley, rye, oats? Is it better for me to avoid nightshades, eggplant, peppers, tomatoes? Is it better for me to eat early in the morning or to wait until 10 or 11? And all of these things are band spread controls. And we can use our intuition to move in the direction of better and better health and better results, but only when our big tuner is dialed in pretty darn close to what we know is optimal. So for today, think about, are there areas where you're just confused about food? And where you're not sure, like, yeah, you sort of have a rule, but you don't really have a rule. Like sometimes you'll have the guacamole and chips and sometimes you won't. You're never quite sure. Wherever you are struggling, it's because you haven't created a clear enough rule that it pre-decides what you're going to do. Right? If you have to keep making decisions on the fly, decision on the fly is an intuitive function. All right? What do I want today? What do I feel like today? Oatmeal? No. Smoothie. Right? So we don't need rules when we can exercise our judgment and our intuition on a moment-by-moment basis. But when we find that exercising our judgment on a moment-by-moment basis gives us agita, a case of the nerves, constant self-doubt, and uneven results, then we know what's important first is to create those rules, to take the momentary ability to decide away from us so that we've predetermined what we're going to do, what the boundaries are. And once we're comfortable there, then we reintroduce the band spread tuner. Then we reintroduce intuition. Then we reintroduce the agency in the moment to call audibles and make decisions within the framework that our rules set up for us. So I hope that helps. I'll see you guys here tomorrow if I have enough electricity and internet to come broadcast. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Monday. If you are in the path of Dorian or in the aftermath of Dorian, stay safe. Take care of yourself, take care of your loved ones, take care of your community, and that's top priority. Stay safe, and remember that one of the reasons we're on this journey is so that we can be heroes, according to Christopher McDougall's definition from. It's called Natural Born Heroes, a wonderful book that he wrote after Born to Run, saying that a hero is someone who has the strength, the ability, the resources to help another person in addition to themselves. So that's why we're on this journey. And when stuff hits the fan and we find we're at the staring down at the business end of Mother Nature, it's good to know that we've built our capacity to the point where we can be of service to others. So I wish that for all of us, to be safe in ourselves and to be in service of others. And I look forward to talking with you guys again tomorrow. Take care. Have a great day.